Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the Blade of the House of Spiders Ryōshū because she is the flagship ID and also because she's pretty fucking good. So I'm going to change things up a bit. I'm going to start off with how you should play her, at least my version of how I play her when I was doing floor 15 runs. Basically, I begin by spending my first turns killing all of my House of Spider IDs, getting her as strong as possible, and making sure that I have a backup team that can compensate for the fact that I'm about to be killing 6 different allies. And then after that, you basically just want to build up your skills using her, so she can get Shin, allowing her to use her enhanced skill 3-2. And basically, at that point, once everything's set up, you can kind of just go ham with her, dealing a bunch of different damage. So yeah, as previously explained in the last bit, you can kill your allies, and it's all done via her evade skill. Whereas when she uses it, the House of Spiders ally with the latest in the deployment order, when they're done with their turn, she fucking uses her skill 1-2, basically almost guarantee that she obliterates them. And then, you know, she gains a buff depending on which one she obliterated, which I'll be putting the list of the buffs on screen right about now. So for her skill 1, like normal skill 1s, it's just a pretty basic skill 1. It gives her poise, inflicts bleed count and burn count, but also inflicts blade trail after image, which basically gives her her special stack that I'll discuss later, and also makes her deal more damage to enemies. And then her skill 2 inflicts bleed and burn, but not count, gives her poise, and like the last one, it's also just a pretty generic attack. So for her skill 3-1, basically it's a singular high-powered attack that inflicts bleed, burn, activates a bleed and burn activation, can gain attack weight, and pretty much just does a really good amount of damage. So for her first combat passive, Sakai, basically when she enters the encounter, she'll gain entanglement and string servants. She gains entanglement by doing a bunch of various effects, usually by having extra House of Spiders IDs and doing certain attacks. And she gains strength servants every time she kills one of the nurse fathers. And basically, if she were to take damage, one of the House of Spiders allies will take damage. She gets a death barrier, a one-time death barrier like the Lord of Hongwa and Honglu. Of course, she's got her a buff she gets for killing allies. And then if there are no identities left on the field or in the loadout, she'll gain skill slots equal to the amount of spider allies that were killed. And then she counts as only burn, bleed, and poise ID. And she also changes the music depending on what she does. Her second combat passive, Space Time After Image Collapse, basically at the start of every turn, she'll inflict Phantom Trace onto a random enemy, in which she'll inflict an additional one for every 3 defeated House of Spiders allies. And basically what it does is if she were to target the person with Phantom Trace, she'll use her skill 2-2, which we'll talk about directly after this. And then on her base attacks, she will turn all of the coins into unbreakables. She'll gain 1 extra to final power, and then she'll gain 1 entanglement. And then her skill 2-2, it is a special attack that she inflicts towards enemies with Phantom Trace. And basically, she does a bit of damage. She gains poise, and then it can have extra attack weight, and inflicts fragility towards slashing and other stuff. So it's basically just like a free attack that enemies cannot counter. Her third combat passive, Dehuai Star, basically, whenever she's inflicting blade trail after image, she'll gain stacks of the star's blade. And once she has, at the end of a turn, she has 50 of them, she'll use her skill 3-3, which we'll talk about after this. And then after that, on the very next turn, she will be able to then use her skill 3-2, which we'll also talk about at the next one. So her skill 3-3 is just an extra attack she does when she has 50 stacks of her blade, which this gives her poise and Shin, and activates burn and also inflicts burn and bleed, with the Shin giving her extra speed, making her gain extra poise potency and poise count. And then she deals extra damage. It takes less damage from unopposed unbreakable coins. And then her skill 3-2 is like the big one. Basically, She uses an extra coin for every string servant she has on herself. She does extra damage for extra excess attack away upon the target. She'll consume all 50 stacks to do it, which she'll gain poise, inflict burn and bleed, activates burn and bleed. She'll consume all blade trail after image on the target to deal extra damage by a certain percentage. And then, of course, she also does extra damage depending on the entanglement. Her fourth combat passive, which she'll gain whenever you have 5 pride resource, basically makes her deal extra damage on critical hits. For every extra poise pass, the amount of poise you need to have max. And then on crit, she'll inflict blade trail after image. And then her special ego she gets at the end of the battle pass. Its passive can be activated instead by attacking your allies using her skill 1-2. And then her support passive, which activates at 3 Pride Resonance. Basically, the ally that has the earliest deployment order when they use a base skill will give them Poise Potency, basically allowing any unit to gain Poise. So, should you get this identity? Yes, she is currently busted. You do need to have the other House of Spiders IDs to make her stronger, but she's pretty good just on her own. But she becomes extremely overpowered if you have them all, especially the fact that they're even adding even more House of Spiders IDs, allowing her to basically become God.